Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Downshift. I'm your host Nestor, and today we're going to be talking all about my Corvette C8 and exactly how much I paid for this thing. Now I know a lot of you guys are going to be looking at the title and the thumbnail of this video and automatically assume number one, I'm either BSing or clickbaiting this video, and honestly, I'm really not. I have the receipts to back it up right there, which I'll show you guys, and in addition to that, we'll be doing some math. I'll show you guys exactly how I came to the number, and trust me, I double checked and triple checked my numbers. It's 100% legit. So before we get into that, guys, if you're new around here and want to see more daily Corvette C8 content, feel free to subscribe. We are also planning on getting a Z06 whenever that comes out, so there's going to be a lot of content from us in the future. So definitely subscribe, and if you're new around here, drop a like as it supports the channel. Let's get into it. Oh my goodness, look at this thing, lads. Look at this thing. I just cleaned it yesterday, and so it's actually looking pretty nice for the first time in a while. I've been aggressively driving this thing, and it kind of you know, it's got a lot of dirt and stuff on it. So yeah, it's seen better days, but today for once it's actually looking pretty incredible. Okay guys, let's go inside and actually talk about how much this thing is worth, how much I paid for it, all of that good stuff, because there's a lot to go over here, guys. So let me first reiterate, okay? I live in Canada, and so I paid for this car in Canadian dollars. Now, for those that don't know, with the whole COVID thing that happened, the price of the Canadian dollar really tanked compared to the US dollar. And so GM was offering this vehicle for only a 1.16 multiplier when you convert it from USD to Canadian dollars. So $1 American for this vehicle specifically was worth $1.16 Canadian, which for those that don't know is an absolute steal for this vehicle, because at the time when I picked this car up, it was March 23rd, and if we Google March 23rd exchange rate, it was closer to like 1.45. So right there alone in the exchange rate, I saved about 20% off on this vehicle. Now, you might be wondering, what does the exchange rate have to do with how much you paid for the vehicle? Because you live in Canada after all, and so you make Canadian dollars and you're spending Canadian dollars, so there's really no comparison when you're talking about US dollars. Well, here is the very fortunate and lucky part for me. Now, for those that don't know my background or anything like that, I do work online, and fortunately for me, I make all of my money in US dollars. So when I get a paycheck, I get paid in US dollars, not in Canadian, even though I live here in Canada. And so I'm getting US dollars, which are much stronger than Canadian dollars, while living in Canada and basically taking advantage of all the cheap deals that we have here. So this car, even though it starts at $69,000 Canadian, for me, that's closer to $49,000 USD, which is pretty ridiculous if you ask me. All right guys, so I know this is a Corvette C7, but trust me, it is for a 2020. It's the Corvette that I'm sitting in. Let's go on over to basically the second last page and the last page, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. So this is of course in Canadian dollars, because I did pay in Canadian dollars, but trust me, it'll all make sense once I'm done explaining it. So this is for 2020 Corvette C8, you know, two-door Stingray Coupe 1LT. We have obviously, you know, the price of the car, which is $67,000 Canadian. That's before the delivery cost, so we're gonna add on $2,000 for that later on. What we then have is, of course, we have a few options that I did choose. So for the seatbelts, we did go for the orange ones, which is $495. We have the Sebring orange tint coat, which is a color paint. That's $1,495. We then also have calipers, which are yellow painted, for $695. And finally, what I ended up going for is the performance exhaust for $1,375. So the grand total was $71,958, but when you add on, you know, the air conditioning tax in Canada, which is $100, and then on top of that you add on the delivery fee of $2,000, that number goes up very slightly to a grand total price of $74,058. So you might be saying, okay, that's a crazy amount of money. How are you going to get from this number all the way down to your title, which is $51,000 USD? All right, so once again, I do get paid in US dollars. I'm fortunate enough to live here in Canada and take advantage of the great exchange rate that we currently have between USD and Canadian. And so I basically hold on to my US dollars, and whenever something like this happens, whenever I want to buy something, I convert money to Canadian and then purchase it for a cheaper price. I know, very fortunate, and I'm very lucky to have that opportunity. Now, of course, if you do take this $74,000.58 Canadian, which ultimately is what I paid my dealership, what you want to do is take that number and multiply it by 0.68935. That is the exchange rate on the day that I purchased this vehicle, and that's the exchange rate that I basically exchanged my money with. And so what that actually gives you is $51,000.58, $9,000 cheaper than a base with no options Corvette C8 in America. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane. And even if you take into account the ridiculous tax rate that we have here in Canada of 13% for any goods that you purchase, specifically here in Ontario, I do live in Toronto for those of you wondering, but essentially it's 13%. So if we were to take this $74,000 Canadian and multiply that by 13%, you get just under $84,000 Canadian. But again, if we do the same conversion of 0.68935, that would leave us with about just over $57,000 USD, with options on the car, you know, the seat belts, the actual exterior paint color, the calipers, and the performance exhaust, plus 13% tax here in Ontario. I'm still paying less than an absolute base model Corvette C8 in America with no options and no tax on top of that. So for those of you that were skeptical of the title, that is the explanation of all the numbers. And of course, while this video was running, I put up all the numbers and calculations. Trust me, I wouldn't be BSing you guys. This is actually how I ended up purchasing this vehicle, and I realized that I am extremely fortunate, not just for the pricing, but also how I managed to get this vehicle. I was number 8 at my dealership, and for some reason, I got this car third at my dealership. I don't know why, I don't know how. Somehow GM decided to push up my vehicle for a March 7th build week, and I managed to get it right before the borders closed, right before production closed. Everything about this Corvette has been truly blessed for me in terms of the pricing, when I got it, and all that kind of stuff. And so I might have to just hold on to this car forever because, you know, the stars kind of aligned with this thing, and I couldn't be more, you know, thankful and grateful and everything like that. And of course, I do absolutely love the vehicle. So that's gonna do it, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Let's get the paperwork out of the way. I'll show you guys the outside one more time. It's a bit windy, so hopefully it's not too bad for you guys, but yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful car. Again, I did wash it and all that stuff, so it should be nice and pretty right now with the black MRR FS06 wheels with the yellow calipers. I personally think it's a really nice touch. The creamsicle white seats with the orange seat belts. Oh man, that never gets old. I gotta go, but I couldn't chintz you guys out of a cold start. Now, mind you guys, not so much of a cold start. This car's warm, it's super sunny. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. And yeah, guys, that is how I took advantage of a reasonably priced vehicle using exchange rates and my job as, I guess, an advantage. So thank you all so much for watching. If you're new, again, definitely subscribe. We'll be pumping out a lot of Corvette content. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.